President Biden didn't just put forward new anti-gun measures today. He also announced his pick to head the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, three of my favorite things, which apparently goes by a different name under the Biden administration.
Today, I'm proud to nominate David Chipman to serve as the director of the AFT. David knows the AFT well, and I believe he's the right person at this moment for this important agency.
He knows the AFT well, and he's the right person. So who is David Chipman? Well, he's a former ATF special agent, but more recently, he's been a shill for the anti-gun lobby. Now, you've probably seen him on TV before calling for insane Second Amendment restrictions. For instance, 3 years ago, he said this about AR-15s.
What I support is treating them just like machine guns. The gun would have to be in your name, and there would be a picture and fingerprints on file. If you want to have a weapon of war, I don't think it's unreasonable at all that you have to pass a background check.
Well, as someone who's spent a little time on the battlefield and owns multiple AR-15s, I can tell you that statement is a load of, well, BS. Has he ever seen a machine gun, fired one? If he has, he should know better. But like a typical tough guy lefty, he loves to use the language of war, but knows nothing about it. Just as he knows nothing about why our Second Amendment actually exists. But that's not all. 2 years ago, Chipman went on PBS, his kind of network, to champion controls on high-capacity magazines.
When I was on ATF SWAT team, my sidearm had 15 rounds, my shotgun had 6. I did have an assault rifle, which could hold 30, but I was also tracking and hunting down the most dangerous armed Americans, which really isn't the job of a civilian.
I'm just glad he didn't think they were magazines with lots of pages in them. So only SWAT team members have the right to defend themselves? Civilians also face dangerous criminals, especially during the left's riot if you want while we defund the police movement. It only makes American families less safe when you deprive them of the best tools for self-defense. And finally, just over a year ago when the China virus hit, Chipman mocked and scolded Americans who armed themselves, how dare they, for the first time.
They might think that they're diehard, ready to go, but unfortunately, they're more like Tiger King, and they're putting themselves and their families in danger. Hide it behind the cans of tuna and beef jerky that you have stored in a cabinet, and only bring that out if the zombies start to appear.
Oh, you're a fool, but he knows better. Chipman's nomination is a clear sign that Biden is dead set, and I mean this, dead set on grabbing your guns and depriving you the ability to defend yourself and your family. But of course, Biden's claiming his egregious executive overreach, well, it's what our founding fathers would have wanted.
From the very beginning, you couldn't own any weapon you wanted to own. From the very beginning the Second Amendment existed, certain people weren't allowed to have weapons. So the idea is just bizarre to suggest that some of the things we're recommending are contrary to the Constitution.